Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. Today we're actually going to go over something a little different. So we're going to do a server build. We're going to build server 2019. Should be relatively similar to your 2022 configurations. And then 2025 was actually just announced this past week. So I'm assuming that will be probably the same as well. So the server build configurations really are the same going back to 2008. So this is really just a quick reference on how to do a server build. So for, say, for instance, a domain controller. This is going to be run on a virtualized platform running VMware Player. Obviously, it'll be exactly the same. If you're doing the server build, you probably have to go through your server configuration, which will be slightly different on a hardware. But in hypervisor, should be pretty close to the same. We're just going to go over what you need for your minimum configuration, what your memory configuration should be, the amount of users, and then we're going to create a series of videos on building the domain controller, building a file server, properly setting groups and permissions, and then I plan on also doing a CIS benchmark deployment where I could show you how to deploy your group policies, how you apply the policies, and we may even touch on WMI filters. So for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to just start the server build. So I'm in the US. I speak English mostly. So we're going to click on next. We're going to do the install now option. The setup is going to start. The next point we're going to get to is it's going to request that we select our disk configuration. Or I'm sorry, we're going to actually get first to your operating system configuration. So on this, we're going to use a trial key, but you want to license it to what you have, whether you're running 2019 standard or if you're running data center, which hopefully if you're running data center, it's on the host. And then, if you've paid for data center, make sure it's on the host. That gives you hypervisors for days versus the standard, which gives you 2 virtual systems. So if you're licensed for data center, use data center. Desktop experience versus just the non-desktop. So non-desktop is core. Core doesn't have your GUI. It's all command line. There's a lot of bonuses to using the core operating system, but for the sake of this, because it's visual, I'm going to actually walk you through the regular installation with the desktop. Maybe at some point I'll go through this again and I'll walk you through a core installation, but there's a little more involvement in the core installation. So we're going to choose the desktop experience, click on next. We're going to accept the license terms, and we're going to do custom. When you do the install, you want to use custom. Unless you're doing an upgrade from like a 2012 R2 box, but I would never recommend upgrading an operating system versus a fresh install, especially on a domain controller, and it's a lot easier than you think to migrate, and we could go over that as well. I may even create ones for DFSR to show you the replication configurations from 2008 R2 to the 2022 servers and what you have to do in the middle to fix the steps, as well as prep for Windows 7 machines and other things that may be on the infrastructure that you have to prep for in order to migrate correctly. So we'll choose custom. Right now I'm only allocating 60 gigs. I would recommend on a physical box that you don't set your primary C partition to anything smaller than 256 gigs. And then your secondary drive, which should be your data drive, should be your storage for your hypervisors. Keep in mind that if you have solid state drives and then you have spinning disks for storage, you want to allocate enough space in your solid state drives or create multiple partitions for your hypervisor hosts operating systems to run on, or your guest operating systems to run on, versus just putting them on the spinning disks, because the I/O will cause latency and nobody likes latency. So we're going to select this. We're going to just hit next because we want to use the whole disk. It's going to eventually go here and kick, and then we'll start the installation process. Okay, so now it's going to go copying the files. It's going to download the updates, copy the updates, install the features, updates, and finishing up. And then the system will eventually get to the point where it's going to prompt us for a setting our username and password. Username is going to be default to administrator unless you're using some kind of a build process. Then you can change your default logon name. But for the sake of this, it's just going to be administrator. You're going to choose your password, and then the system will reboot and get to the logon page. I'm going to stop the video here. I'll kick up for a part 2 on the configuration, and then we will go from there. All right, thanks guys. Like and subscribe for more videos.